Warning, we are going to be speaking truth and reality today on the Warriors. It's going to be a new year. It is a new year. We have new thinking here at the Warriors. We need to discuss what is going on with our children and with our teens and our parents. It is not going to be easy to listen to this, perhaps, probably, but it is truth. So Tammy Rodriguez is joining us. Tammy bravely is sharing her harrowing story. I call it this because I can think of no worse pain about her precious daughter, Selena, so that other moms and families will not have to endure this pain. What happened to Tammy and her family? So let's start with just welcome Tammy to the Warriors.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here with you.
Well, I'm very glad we're talking because your voice is what will resonate with the public, and this is what we need to do and spread, as brutal as it is, the truth and the reality to warn everybody.
Right.
And you are such a brave warrior to really want to talk about this. And I'm treading lightly, Tammy. I mentioned that before we started recording with this story. But I did mention to you everything surrounding internet, kids, addictions, big tech, Congress. This is really a message of hope. I want everybody to understand this is not working. So we need to have new strategies, new ideas, new coalitions, new empowerment for parents, especially new resources for parents, avenues for you, Tammy, to speak out more directly to parents, whether that group is 2 people or 100 people. It has to be at the community level. We're a great believer in that here at the Warriors, and spread throughout the United States. We need new dialogue, new thinking, really, and big tech. We have to hold them accountable, but we need your voice, Tammy. So I'm so honored you're joining us. Thank you. I'm going to start that with you are indeed a great warrior. Let's start with Tammy, whatever you want to start with. I mean, tell us about your daughter, your family dynamics. I'm going to let you just jump off and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so it's myself and my older daughter, Destiny. She is 27. And Selena, she would have been 15 this year. I had purchased a cell phone for her. Actually, I'm sorry, a tablet first when she was about 8 years old. She had, the usual things, the YouTube Kids, the design games, just the regular things that the kids were playing. And once she started running out of memory, that was when I gave in and I, got her the iPhone. So she was happy with the iPhone until again, started running out of memory. Then she got her iPad. And this, progressed over a couple of years as I saw her, using it more and things. She played Roblox, which at the time I didn't realize, had problems. After the fact, I found out that she had 7 Instagram accounts. Yeah. Well, let me go back a little bit. Sorry. So she was a bright ray of sunshine. That's what her sister calls her, as a human form of sunshine. She was a dancer, singer. She was the loudest one in the street. We could hear her everywhere. She was just so boisterous. So it's hard. In July of 2021, after a few months, I want to say about 2 months of pure hell, I'll say, we didn't know what was going on with her. She became an entirely different child.
Yeah.
She completely withdrew. She was not sleeping at all. During the night, she would steal my phone so that she could have one more device that accessible to her. She at one point had punched her sister in the face and broke her nose. With me, I was driving one time and she grabbed the top of my arm and bruised it so bad. The bruise was there for a couple of weeks, all because I wouldn't give her my cell phone because hers had died. Yeah.
So, no, I don't mean to interrupt, but this is, as long as you're okay with it, Tammy, I kind of want to break this down because I want to say only in the last, I'm going to say recently, we're really talking about internet addiction.
Yes.
Where it is a true addiction. We have the studies, mainstream media may not want to talk about it too much, right? Or if they talk about it, it's gone by the next day. There's no follow through. It is a true addiction.
Yes.
and
Actually,
it
one of
affects,
sorry.
like anything, it affects everybody differently, right?
Yeah.
Some kids don't get addicted. Some
Right.
kids do get addicted. We
Yeah.
do know as of today about 25%. And remember, what we know about the numbers are always higher because we everything's kept in the dark with all of this internet and kids and exploitation. But about 25% of kids are constantly on the internet. I don't know if what you heard, Tammy, but this is what I'm told, you
Yes,
know.
it's about that
So
number.
it could be 40%. Like we don't know because everything is in the dark, sort of. Or also, what I always find interesting, it's something I do in Washington a lot, is talk about we need up to date like studies because
Yes.
having a study, I was handed studies for 2019. I'm like, I can't even use these. I don't understand, because things are changing on a dime. Things are changing. The predators are 10 steps ahead of us, very
Mhm.
smart. And so we have to be smarter and have studies that are constantly going. So that's something we'll be working with it, with the Warriors in the coming year. But I want information up to date as much as possible.
Yes.
Now, let's go back a little bit. So
Yes.
Selena was only 11 years old. She starts out as a child, like normal kids.
Mhm.
Mom gives phone, iPad, tablet,
Right.
watch some cartoons. Also, I was reading up on Selena. She loved to dance. So, what mom's not going to let her child express herself on TikTok because it's all about
Right.
like dancing and song and
Right.
Snapchat, and this it's a normal thing, Tammy. So you understand like that's what moms and parents have been doing because
Right.
they didn't know about anything else.
Right.
Okay, now fast forward. So she becomes Selena progressively worse. You do bring her for therapy.
Yes, she had done therapy. She had done an inpatient program, outpatient,
But
like a part.
what did they suggest to you? Because it's not good enough when somebody gets to the point of uh you can't when a child is in this kind of frenzy, right? I'm not a doctor, okay? I'm not a lawyer either. But what did they suggest to you? Because taking just the devices away can cause even more harm
Right.
and
Yes.
create more conflict. You pointed out already she grabbed your arm in the car.
Right.
Uh, she hurt her sister. So
Yes.
what were they saying to you at the time?
Pretty much that was the only thing I was being told is, to take the device from her. She had one therapist in her partial hospitalization program who said that she had the worst case of um, social media addiction she'd ever seen. Because it was just a constant, at the end, it was a nonstop thing with the social media.
Now, what about school? So she went to school during the day. How was all this fitting in uh,
So,
to the school program? Because how could she even concentrate or focus with anything in school with all this addiction going on?
right. So this was during COVID. So that's a big part of the problem
Oh,
too.
yes,
So she was
yes.
home. I had to work through COVID, unfortunately. She was home with her sister. So, it gave them that chance where the kids really had no other choice but to be on devices, whether it was a school issued or their own.
Yeah.
And so she wasn't signing into school. We actually ended up having a DCF case because she hadn't been signing in, which, I understood the school didn't want to have to do it, but because of her attendance being so bad, of course, it was found no fault in the end. But yeah, it completely destroyed
You
her.
know, I try to block that period out, but it's really
Mhm.
not good of me, Tammy, to do that because this is the period where we really found out the COVID period when all kids and parents were forced online for
Right.
schooling, for all of that, where
Yes.
we started to see all of these issues starting to pop up, or we started to see how government issued Chromebooks here in New York City had no guardrails. So we had
No, none.
pornography popping up.
Mhm.
We had first graders who had the Chromebook here in New York. The mother would walk into the kitchen, start dinner or lunch, come back and see, horrible things. So
Right.
if anything out of that period, we started to learn, right,
Right.
about all of this.
Yes.
Now, what happened? So you're trying to work. You're trying to keep the house going. You as a mom are doing the best you can do. And so what? Did you take all of the devices away? Did you try to talk to her? But kids, it's hard
Right.
to talk to them. What
Yeah.
happened?
I mean,
What
it was very hard because of her being at home and needing the device for school.
Yes.
Even though she wasn't logging in, she still had to have it in case she did log in. So it made it very difficult to take that device away. The other devices, yes, they had been taken away from time to time, which didn't make a difference because she went and used somebody else's.
Or, even kids are very savvy. I don't know if Selena did any of this. They know how to buy burner phones even. They
Right.
know how, if they're talking to somebody online, we've had cases of that some of those people provide devices
Oh,
for the kids or drop them off in the backyard, all kinds of stuff
oh
going on.
my gosh.
So we we have to take this burden to
Yes.
some extent.
Mhm.
Obviously, everybody's learning. It's up to parents and guardians to start learning. And that's why it's so important, Tammy, you're speaking out. Stop me at any point.
Yes.
If I want to protect you. I'm very protective of the
Thank you.
moms and
Me
of your story. Um,
too.
but we have to hold big tech in some way responsible. We're not trying to steal, because that old argument, we just went through the Kids Online Safety Act that
Yeah.
got knocked down, but I have full confidence it's going to be
Mhm.
coming back. It will
Yes.
be passed.
Yes.
We have been working on that for close to 4 years with some
Right.
guardrails. We cannot leave the responsibility. Why is it up to the parent all the time or the child when they're making billions upon billions, big tech,
Right.
off the
Exactly.
backs of our kids, off of you, right? Off of me. We love the internet. It's not going away. We live in a digital
Right.
world. You and me are
Mhm.
talking right now. It's fantastic. We're not,
Right.
but we need some sort of guardrails. What happened? You did start a lawsuit. Are you able to talk about that at all or no?
Somewhat I can, yes.
Well, just
You
just
know,
mention that because I think it's important.
oh,
Whatever you can say about that, because I think it's very
okay.
important that big tech, we have to figure out some way to hold them accountable. This cannot
Exactly.
keep going, especially as we're entering into this AI, artificial intelligence.
Very
So tell us
scary.
whatever you beyond. We we can't even get there yet because forget that. There are no guardrails for that. But what
Right.
happened with this lawsuit? Whatever you want to talk about or not talk about, it's up
Right.
to you.
Okay. So when Selena had passed away, we believed that the suicide was due to bullying. We know that there was bullying that was going on. We would hear it ourselves. My daughter and I would hear it. We would intervene or, whatever. But it was after she had passed away, and I was scrolling one night online, and I happened to see an ad for the law firm, and I clicked on it, and I read, everything they had listed on there, and it was like a whole check box. I mean, I could have checked every box on there for all the signs, the symptoms of things that these kids are going through. So, I contacted them, and they've been, oh my God, so supportive. What a
Good.
wonderful group of people. But I mean, they are really holding big tech accountable. This has nothing to do with us gaining financially. Unfortunately, we are judged because people think that's what we're looking for. But no, I'm here because they need to be held accountable. And I don't think anything else is going to hit them harder than financially.
It's always it's always about a dollar, isn't it, Tammy? It's like
Yes,
that. As crass as that sounds, that is the reality. We have to start really talking. I'm gonna keep stressing this. 2025 community, not just you and me. Everybody has to talk about the reality. We
they
can
do.
have no more embarrassment. We can have no more. I talk to parents. I'm like, you have to have, porn education because the kids are
Yes,
seeing
they
it
do.
anyway.
Right?
Okay. Oh,
I agree.
I don't want to open up that can of worms because I'm like, you don't understand. They're seeing it anyway. Like, so why don't
Exactly.
you talk about it? It's really
Appropriate.
frightening because Tammy, my three kids are all in their 30s now. So they just kind of weren't born. It's like 30 and under was kind of born in this internet bubble. My
Yes.
kids kind of missed it. And I'm
Okay.
so thankful because I really wake up every day and I'm like, I don't know how parents do it. I,
Yeah.
because everybody's overwhelmed with just life and trying to survive and buy
Right.
food and pay rent and go to work and just everything. And then they got this thrown at them. So
Yes.
financially, okay, this
Mm.
big tech, I do believe in the next year, something's going to break.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said earlier, I do believe Kids Online Safety Act will get passed. I mean, we rewrote that. so many
Yeah.
times to
Right.
address different things. And it was very disappointing, but you know what? That
Mhm.
it didn't pass in this lame duck session. That's
Right.
okay. It'll be
Yep.
bigger and stronger
Yes, I
in the
agree
new
with you.
Congress. So we have
Right.
to be hopeful for that. But I
Right.
also think, Tammy, does anybody talk with you about, the real culprit here is this Section 230 of this Communication Decency
Mhm.
Act, which
Right.
says the internet's basically a billboard or a newsstand. And
Yes,
that's from 1996. I mean, a lot's happened in almost 30 years.
it sure
What
has.
what what has been your relationship with that? What have you been hearing everybody say about that? Because we really have to either amend it or what we
Mhm.
call sunset it,
Right.
rewrite it. What do
Yes.
you hear about that?
Well, I actually was there for
Yes.
the hearing in the Supreme Court hearing, and um, just being there and being around all those people and knowing that this change needs to be made, and hearing people who are supporting that, but knowing that there's still people who are not supporting it, and I can't wrap my head around it. Why they think that that doesn't need to be updated? That's very old, you know. And there, like you said, there's been so many changes that have happened.
Yeah. I wanted you to bring that up, like if you were there, because I'm again, I tread lightly, Tammy. Uh, you bring a good point out, like an excellent point. I never understood. I thought when I started the Warriors, we would collaborate. We're only 5 years old. I
Mhm.
thought everybody could come together, issues of safety for kids and families. Like I
Right,
just
right.
thought it's not about a political party. It doesn't
No,
belong to a political party. These are human rights abuses. These are criminal acts. And you know what, Tammy? I found out it really is very separate and weaponized. And I can't, and the question you just asked, I've always asked,
mhm.
like whether it's Albany, our state capital, when I'm up there, I'm in DC, other groups and organizations, like, why aren't people getting on board? Like, and everybody says the same thing. We don't know.
Right.
What do
It
you mean?
doesn't
What
make
do you mean you
sense.
don't know?
Right.
And I continue to ask that question and be met with blank looks for the most point. And it's not good enough that, in Congress, when we had big tech there,
Mhm.
uh, and they say, well, we're doing the best we can do.
Mm-mm.
We want children to be safe. What's the aftermath of all of that? First of all, we had the youth mental health advisory put out by our own U.S.,
The
Vivek.
Surgeon General.
Yes,
Yeah.
Surgeon General. We had that,
Yeah.
and that was well over a year ago, year and a half ago, maybe 2 years almost going on.
Yeah,
Then
because I actually had met him right around that time when he was putting it out.
good. So were you like a resource for him, or
Yes.
just
Yeah. As
sharing your story has to
sharing the story.
resonate? Good. I
Yeah.
like that.
And
I think
he's
that was
reshared it many times.
good.
Yeah.
Good. I like that because again, we need your voice. As painful as that is,
Right.
but we're making progress because we have your voice, Tammy. So good.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad to hear that. But we had that, which I thought was very concerning. I'm still talking about it. I still refer to it if I'm giving interviews or talking to somebody. We
Right.
must keep up with the youth mental health.
Yes, we
We
have to.
must, and we're not, and we must. And then also, I'm sorry, Congress, this is me saying it, Tammy.
Mhm.
They both sides, because these bills are, bipartisan, right? Uh, Somehow, some way, somebody's got to break through and do something a little more. But that's me saying that. And
Right.
then we have big tech. I was so disgusted when I saw Mark Zuckerberg turn
Hmm.
around and face.
I was too. I
And guess what? I was disgusted for the parents and family. Like, I was so upset for them that
yes.
I don't cry. And I
No.
started to cry because I said, this is not good enough. Like, this
No.
is
When
unacceptable.
when
And
he turned
so,
around and looked at all of us and he had that smug look on his face, I just no, it that apology meant nothing to me. Absolutely nothing.
yeah, I really could not believe that. But you know what? We're going to remain very hopeful. Things are going to change
We
because
are.
I do see the pendulum swinging slightly in the other direction. So
I
that's good about that. Now, um, if you're talking to parents, do you go out at all? Does anybody put you in touch with talking in any community groups or with other parents, or you just do things on your own? Like, how is this working for you?
I've been kind of finding things on my own, along
Okay.
with our attorneys who put me in touch with quite a few organizations. Recently, I did a direct action at the Grand Central Station outside of Apple because that's another. whole issue of
I
it.
saw that. I was out of town, or I would have joined in on that because there
Yeah,
was also one a month or two earlier at the Apple store on Fifth Avenue.
that's right. Yes.
So I was very happy to see the other one at Grand Central. Let me ask you something. Here's the big question. What do you want? Let's stick with moms right now. What do
Mhm.
you want moms to know?
I want to educate moms. That's my main goal, or parents and anybody involved in the
Right.
child life of a child, is the education, the awareness. Um, no one expects an 11-year-old to commit suicide. So I want people to know it does happen. Even children younger, unfortunately, within my friend group I have now, there's children younger that have taken their own lives, and people need to understand this, and they need to understand what's going on with the social media and the algorithms, because they don't. I had no idea, and that's what I was going to finish saying about Selena's story is, um, after we had found out, and I had gone through the attorneys, we found out that she was being exploited online. She had 7 Instagram accounts I had absolutely no idea about. Things were hidden inside of other things. She had saved her fingerprint in my phone and would use my bank account to buy money on the Roblox game. And I wouldn't even know that she had saved her fingerprint in there. So it's like things like that. These are things parents need to know the kids know how to do and that they have access to.
Wow. You see, this is the kids are really smart about these devices, right?
They
And they've grown up with them and they learn everything online. I mean,
Right.
you can, but also let's point out again, we know we have the studies, dangerous algorithms are fed to our children and our
Yeah,
teens.
they are.
Everything from eating disorders, how to harm oneself, you brought up the bullying. The bullying is really a very severe problem that I don't think is addressed enough. Sure, we touch upon it.
Yes.
We have to, one of the things I've been working on is every school really needs not just somebody to come in once in a while, law enforcement and talk about it, an
Right.
actual educational program
Yes.
to deal with this during the school year. Okay.
Right.
That goes for all schools. We also need PSAs,
Right.
which Tammy, I want you to know, I know everybody in the media. I approached for, I'll say mainstream media, and they're like, oh, Lynn, I wanted PSAs, like little nuggets about these type of, they're like, we're not touching that. We're not going near any of that. So again, we don't have media partners really willing to go after it wholeheartedly, which is
Right.
what, because this is a crisis,
It
what's
is a
going on.
crisis.
And
Yeah.
nobody, we're talking about it, but most people are not talking about it enough, right?
Correct.
I want to ask you, what do you make like up a sheet with bullet points that we got to get some kind of something we can blast out to everybody? I mean, I have things, but I want something to come from you if you want to put a little
Sure.
something together.
I can do
Um,
that.
it's as easy as, let's face it, your voice will resonate, right? Because I have not been through this.
Right.
I will do anything to help you, Tammy, that we can get
Thank you. Thank
this
you.
out kind of thing because it is so urgent and
Yeah.
it's only escalating. It's really not getting better despite
No.
more talk and this and that.
Right.
We had that book come out, The Anxious Generation. So there
Yes.
was kind of a, that was good, but they weren't willing to come on with me.
Oh no. I've spoken with Jonathan in the past. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we
Yeah.
have to do anything to spread the word.
Yes, we
Do you know
do.
what I'm saying? And
Yes, we
and
do.
or to give people that book or
Right.
to somehow somebody, because there's a lot of money out there despite what's going on, somebody
Mhm.
buy up those books and put them in the schools for the teachers and the
That's
educators. We have to figure out these new ways to
well,
do
that's a
anything.
great idea.
What did Jonathan say to you? Was it any kind of constructive, or was it a passing by kind of conversation? Was it more constructive? Did you help him with the book?
Just
Like what?
just helped him here and there with some of what I went through with Selena and things. So yeah.
Okay, good. We have to keep pushing that book out because that did get traction, like in mainstream media, much
Yes.
more than like anything else. So
Right.
I hope he
Right.
has a volume two coming out.
I know.
It has to be an ongoing type of thing.
Yes.
Tell us now, right now, what do you have planned for the future? Are there any plans? Have there been any mentions of going back in front of Congress or going to your state capital, or what's happening in your world right now?
Nothing as of right now scheduled for me, except for I'm going to be speaking to a group of social workers, in school social workers.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm going to have that in about 2 weeks from now. Otherwise, I don't have anything else scheduled.
Okay, well, you do, because now the Warriors are going to start lining you up and say, Tammy, you're able to do. No, but this is very important when we start rallying up in Washington and things like that and getting everybody on board.
Yeah,
How can
and
the
I'm
public
always
help
willing.
you? Tammy, I want the public to help you. How can they help you?
Spreading Selena's story. And I always ask people to do an act of kindness in her memory. I always ask that. Smile at somebody that you walk by, because Selena always wanted everyone to smile. She was very, very much into the homelessness population. She had certain homeless people that she would go and have us check up on, make sure they were okay. Yeah, she was an incredible soul. I'll give you one funny story about her. It was a freezing cold night. We were going to pick up her sister from work, and there was a homeless gentleman asking for money on the side of the street. And she says, Mom, you have to go back around the block. We have to give him something. He's cold. I go around the block, and when we get there to him, she says, Mom, give him your coat. My coat, not her coat, but my coat.
Of course, you're the mom,
Yes.
your coat. Of course.
Here I went, gave it right out the
Oh,
window.
Tammy.
Because Selena's heart was so pure when it came to things like that. So just that was.
But that's an incredible. So she was what, 11 at the time when that happened? 10, 11?
Maybe 10, maybe even not.
That,
About 10, I'd say.
that's like an old soul, that
Yes.
kind of thinking from a child that age.
Yes. So
So,
that
oh,
the world has really missed out on a shining star with her.
well, I saw some, she was dancing on TikTok and she had all the cute little hearts and things like that. I saw Tammy, it breaks my heart, but you know what? You are really doing God's work and you are to be thanked and commended. Where do you want people to follow you before? I mean, I know, we're on LinkedIn, we talk to each other, or would you prefer just we spread the video? Do you want to have any kind of contact, your email that people can
Sure.
write to you? I can
Yes.
include that in the body of the video. I'll put,
Okay.
because I
Either
think,
LinkedIn or my email. I can give you that, or you have that as
no,
well.
I have all that. I'll put everything in the body of the video. I'll put
Sure.
some things about Selena in there because it
Okay.
helps for, as you pointed out, knowing there's community,
Yes.
other parents who've gone through this, other family members.
Oh, yeah.
I've been with them,
Yeah.
and it's heartbreaking, but they bond in
Yes.
this.
Oh, the family that I say, the family that I've made throughout this. Oh, I can't tell you the bond that we have. You've probably seen it amongst quite a few
I
of them.
have, and I stand to
Yeah.
the side. I went up to Albany last year with a group of parents,
Mhm.
and it was, I just stood to the side to kind of take it in
Mhm.
so they could bond. I'm not going to interject with,
Right.
um,
Right.
to watch this. And again, I got tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that can make me cry. The parents and the kids in this. But it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And because I would see a mom say, so what's your story? And then, oh, okay, here's my story.
Right.
And
we know we can do that with each other. We can
yes,
go up and we can ask, what's your story? Somebody else can't quite do that.
well, that's why I'm standing to the side, because I'm going to be like, I'm a warrior. What? I'm not interjecting here. Taking it all in to see how I can help this group or promote it or get their voice out there into the world. And the only other group I've seen this with is we do a lot of work, fentanyl,
Yeah.
parents of, and again, because the internet,
Yes.
Snapchat in particular, you can buy a lot of drugs. Okay. Fentanyl. I stand to the side. I was at a Times Square event about 6 months ago, and the parents will be like, what is your story? And they bond.
Yes. You must know Amy
And
now.
yes.
That's one
Yes.
of my very good friends. Very
Oh, good, because I've been talking to her the last few months on and off. I want her to come on to, the Warriors.
Okay.
But again, I tread lightly because, we'll reconvene when she wants to do it or whatever. But she was there in Times Square. She was actually, promoting. She was like the lead speaker along with Homeland Security and DEA, which we work with at the Warriors.
Okay.
So, and the only disappointing thing about that, Tammy, and this is where my little siren in my head went off, is it was a Wednesday afternoon pre-matinee, pre-theater.
Okay.
47th and Broadway, which is where the ball, it's like it's where everybody convenes in Times Square, right?
Mhm.
And it was a beautiful event. Parents spoke, Amy spoke, really crowded, people wearing their child on their, t-shirts and sign. But the public didn't pay attention.
Really?
See, I'm always like focused on like focus groups and looking at the public.
Right,
And
right,
I walked away from that, Tammy, saying to myself, it's not good enough we talk to each other, right?
right.
Like,
Uh,
or we talk to each other on LinkedIn. I'm saying we have to. I'm just saying,
right,
how
right.
do we put all this out into the public? Because DEA was there with Homeland Security, all kinds of information to give out to people. Narcan, they had everything going on there. Tables, beautiful. Okay.
Mhm.
And the public kind of just walked on by.
Wow.
And I know it's dark and ugly and nobody wants to talk about it.
Mhm.
But like that was my light bulb that said, we've got to get the public on board, right?
Yes.
To
Yes, and
to
get them to listen.
get and create new warriors to help intervene, right?
Yes.
We need the prevention.
Right.
So that is just something. It's funny, you bring up Amy. I have to. I'm going to write to her this afternoon again and see if I can get her to come on. Finish us up with what do you want the public to know right now? In 2025, we start the new year. You are our first interview of the new year. I want to support parents. We at the Warriors want to do everything to give you tools and resources, whatever we can do. But leave us with some words for the parents and family members out there. What do you want them to know or do? It's up to you.
Well, you definitely need to monitor kids' social media and internet usage. That's one of the biggest important things is to monitor it. We've also been told that the parents can change the algorithm if you allow your kids to have TikTok or one of those. If the parent goes on at least once a week and they kind of scroll through themselves and changes the algorithm so that it doesn't look like it's a child, it looks like it's an adult using it. Um, but I ask people to please listen to us. More than anything else, listen to our stories. We've been through the worst pain you can imagine. And it's real. These things are real. This is not us making up stories or, coming up with things, or as my daughter Destiny says, wearing our tinfoil hats. This is real. And people need to start listening and they need to start telling other people too.
Well, wake up, warriors. That's what I have to say. I'm going to add that,
I like
Tammy.
that.
People have to wake up.
Yes.
That's
Yes, they
it. Short
do.
and sweet. Wake up. First of all of you out there, you're hearing Tammy's journey, her story. It is ongoing.
Mhm.
What happened? And she's bravely sharing and coming on the Warriors to warn you, help you,
Yes.
and let you know this is real. And in
Yes.
2025, we're going to start really flipping the switch on all of this and not
Mhm.
letting these predators and big tech win. So I
Right.
want to say, Tammy, really, God bless you. God bless
Thank you. You're
Selena,
welcome.
and your other daughter. God bless all of you. You're in our
Thank you.
hearts. You're in our prayers. Um,
Thank you so
we're
much.
going to be holding big tech accountable. I want you to know that, Tammy. It's going to happen in 2025, and you're going to be there, and you're going to
Yes.
get some little bit of satisfaction for that. And it's happening because you are sharing your voice. So I'm going to include in the body of this video, it'll have your information. It'll
Okay.
have Selena's story so people can take their time and read it, at their own pace because we agree it's tough for people. And I just want to say to you, please let us stay in touch and
Definitely.
let us just keep up with all of this and keep on it and let us really welcome 2025. Let's start it with Selena's story and your story, Tammy. And I want
Thank
to
you.
just say you really are a warrior. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for the platform to be able to tell their story.
Absolutely, because you're a warrior.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy. We will speak
You're
again
welcome.
soon.
Okay, perfect.